Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Glam Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the freedom to choose how you should train. Mountain. Now, the totalitarian part of me would rather tell you that you have to use my workout programs, otherwise you're a misogynist or a racist or a problem with society in general. You're just a bad person if you don't use my workout programs, because that would make me a great amount of money. I mean, if everybody started believing that BS, I'd be doing great, you know. So I say my workout programs are great, but they're not necessarily the only way, right? Because one thing I teach on this channel is that your body is going to have its own individual reactions to certain forms of stimulation. You see it in the comments. Look in the comment section of every single video of any person who's training on the internet, like any of the big YouTubers that are doing workout stuff. You're going to see people who agree and then people who disagree in the comments about a certain technique or a certain rep range or how to squat, how to bench. You know, they're all arguing. Well, why are they arguing? It's because all of them, or most of them at least, are right. And that's the big problem in the world right now, is that people are discarding the law of individuality, which Dr. Squat, Fred Hatfield, right? Fred Hatfield, he was the big time 1,000-pound squatter, I believe. He talked about that, the law of individuality. When it comes down to squatting, different people will squat differently because of how they're built. The hips are built differently, and their lever arms and all this, so it's going to change their groove, and that's really obvious in the squat more than any other lift. I'd say deadlift is probably a close second. So because of this, I cannot stress this enough, and I talk about this in my workout vlogs on Rumble, because you see me work out, you see how I train, you see what I'm doing, and you can see that sometimes I'm doing something different than somebody else, but it is perfect for my body type. I won national competitions. I was on the cover of magazines. I did it all in natural bodybuilding. I was really up there, okay? And you know, the only thing that might have held me back here and there was maybe I wasn't in good enough contest shape at times, or I wasn't lean enough or something, but my size was more than good enough. And how I found out how to put on size was that I listened to my body and I followed that range of motion and that technique in which I felt the muscles were most stimulated. And of course, my joints got challenged all the time with that, right? People say, oh, you know, you're not training the joints because you just train the muscles, not the joints. Well, no, I'm training the muscles, not the joints. The reason why I use that whole saying in the front of my videos is because it's short and sweet. And most people in this day and age have the attention span of a gnat, right? Of a fly. And you can't explain things. They just want quick answers, quick answers, quick answers. So this was an easy, quick statement for them to get a general idea of what I'm saying. But obviously, if you go deeper into what I'm saying, I'm not saying not to train the joints, really. I'm saying the joints get trained already. You just don't have to destroy them in order to get the body to adapt and to grow and to be healthy and functional, right? I mean, the body will also adapt through the joints. When you're putting weight on them and going through any range of motion, the joints will adapt as well to a certain point. It's just that the joints cannot adapt as fast as the muscles in some cases, especially if you're breaking them. Right? If I take a sledgehammer to your knee and then say squat at the same time, obviously we're going to say, well, geez, the joint took too much stress in comparison to the muscles, right? So in that way, this channel is about freedom. And anybody that doesn't understand freedom, then they're not going to understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about freedom for you to find out what works. I would rather have a bunch of free people around me thinking for themselves based on wisdom than a bunch of people just following whatever is written down on a piece of paper somewhere. Because, you know, that can be made up, right? People will follow this piece of paper or that piece of paper, and we can get into large debates about that because everybody thinks their piece of paper is the right one, you know. But the bottom line is that I could write anything down on a piece of paper. It doesn't mean it's true, right? And then if you just follow that blindly without using any of your wisdom, then the piece of paper has enslaved you. It hasn't freed you. So growing of your own awareness in the gym, that is your weapon. That is your weapon in truth. That is how you find truth. You have to be willing to find truth. You cannot think that you're going to establish elite results in anything without trying to find the truth. Great business people talk about this. They talk about how they were taught in school one thing, but then when they got out in the real world, something else showed itself, or the climate changed, as far as the economic climate, or, what they got trained in was totally useless as opposed to what they had to learn, like what kind of skill they had to learn in order to become elite at what they were doing. It's the same thing. You might be dumbbell curling in a certain way and then realizing, wow, I'm just feeling this all in my shoulders or all in my forearms. I have to find a different way to do this in order to really feel the bicep or whatever it is that I want to work or train in that moment. And the stifling of this journey, the stifling of this exploratory behavior has been the bane of most people's results. I can't tell you how many people I trained, and I had them in the gym and I showed them how to train based on the way they were built. I was trying to put them through their ranges of motion and what felt right to them based on conversating with them based on how they were feeling, where they were feeling the tension, and also looking at their body and how it was moving. And I can't tell you how many of these people were already training for 10 or 15 years and then they got miraculous results because they started to work with the body instead of against it. So anybody who's surprised by me being a stubborn prick, you shouldn't be. Because I'm not stubborn when it comes down to freedom. I'm just stubborn when it comes down to people stifling my freedom to find out what works, because of this, I've experienced overwhelming success in many areas of my life. And you will also notice the same thing. If you explore and find out what works, you're going to realize that there's a lot of bullshit that's been taught to you that wasn't true, at least for you. And that's what this is about. So dare to explore you. Dare to explore your body. Dare to try things and see what happens, and really pay attention to that first and foremost, over just blindly following somebody saying this is the best or that's the worst, do this or do that, right? That's what I would say. So a real teacher frees you from the teacher. A tyrant enslaves you, so you need him to keep on teaching you, or at least repeating doctrine. That's what you have to remember. So if you're still around the teacher, it's because you like to just be around the teacher, but you're not forced to be around the teacher because you've been struck blind, right? It's like somebody poking your eyes out and then they need to lead you around for the rest of your life. That's bullshit, right? That's not real teaching. Real teaching is teaching you how to think, teaching you how to be aware, teaching you how to flow with the forces of life. That's real teaching. And this is what I'm saying today, and it applies on many different levels, and I'm sure you guys can interpret which levels to put this teaching on. Mountain. So yeah, I hope this helps out in your training or any other aspect of your life. Take care for now, and thanks a lot to the patient supporters, and I'll see you maybe on Rumble. Maybe you'll see me on Rumble in one of my Rumble videos. Just the link is in the description, and I have workout vlogs on there where I talk and train and show you what I'm doing. Mountain. Natural land.